Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
All right. It's after 12. Yeah. So, call meeting to order. Do we have enough people?
I think we do.
And I think a couple I'm expecting online. I think Matt was gonna join online and.
At 1.
Oh, at 1. Was it at 1?
Yeah.
Okay. He's coming at 1 and then Bob's not gonna be here,
Computers are present.
but he's not making it. So. All right, so introductions. Diane Flowers, BPAC chair.
Kim Curley, BPAC member.
Neil Bonsgard, BPAC member.
Wendy Holzman, BPAC member.
David Green, BPAC co-vice chair.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lutz, co-vice chair.
Dave wrote feedback. Chris Chang, know that?
Anya Saltzman, county liaison.
Who's online?
Eva Richardson here with Commute Options.
Hey, Derek Hoffauer, City of Bend.
And a couple more joined in person. Yeah, nice to see everybody.
Hey. Hi, everyone. Michelle Rhodes with Ben Lapine Schools.
Mark Smith, feedback.
Hey. Sorry, I didn't forget the sign-in sheet is sitting on my printer as well, so. There you go. All right, any public comments? I think we public here, so we are all. And a motion to approve last month's minutes. We're all included.
So moved. Approved with one Scribner's error correction, yeah.
We're changing one from Prineville to Redmond.
Yeah.
We just didn't catch it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I second.
All right. Motion to approve.
Aye.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, so January BPAC meeting, we didn't mention this, but or last month, but just to make sure we all know, it will be the 8th instead of the 1st. So it's the second Thursday of the month.
Meet on New Year's.
Not meeting on New Year's Day. I'll be okay with that. And I think we'll be back downstairs.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. Did everybody get a chance? Dave, you have the letter that you put together.
I didn't bring a copy.
I have a copy.
Okay.
Didn't make copies.
The one about the Reed Market bread.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I have no access, so. Not getting Peter, sorry.
So generally, the letter says that we would be in support of this project, that there are 3 comments that we have. One is to make sure that we raise the bike lanes to provide some separation between the bike lanes and the traffic. One is that on the south side of the bridge, which is where the Bend Park and Rec trails go along Reed Market, that we make sure that bikes can go both directions. So it's not a one-way bike path. And the third thing is to make sure that the ramp, where the ramp goes on the south side of the bridge down to the underpass, that connection is designed so that large cargo bikes and street maintenance equipment can make that corner so that they can easily do the maintenance and provide travel around that corner. So
Just ask a question
sure.
about the bidirectional. Is there going to be signage and or pavement markings that indicate bidirectional?
Well, that's so the city has not released any sort of wayfinding designs yet. They have them approved and they're going to start putting them in, but they have they're not planning to do any wayfinding on this project at its inception. So we could add something like that if you want.
I'm not a BPAC member, but as a interested
Point.
party,
Yeah.
I think it's something to be considered. In my experience, when I was at the University of Washington in Seattle, part of the Burke-Gilman Trail that was constructed on campus. I mean, it was bi-directional, but that was a source of, I'll say, confusion sometimes and caused frustration because there was sometimes conflicting patterns, movement patterns between pedestrians and bicyclists, and, just something to consider in the mix. And there might be some pros and cons about that, so.
Is this to be sent or has been sent?
It's to be. It's not been sent. Yeah.
Yep.
This is something I put in my personal comments, but there is currently existing sidewalk and bike ped that aren't being covered at grade. And I was wondering if you guys would be open to, I like this idea, but if they could keep that at grade crossing still for bike peds, so you don't have to climb up 25 feet when there's not a train. So if that's a possibility, that would make it a lot
Yeah.
easier. There's only 4 to 6 trains a day, so that leaves you at 23, 22 hours where you don't have to go all the way up and down, if it's possible.
Yeah, I talked to the program manager about that, and they, at least on the north side of the bridge, there is not enough right of way to allow that. And on the south side of the bridge, they very explicitly do not want people crossing the tracks at grade.
Okay.
So I don't know if we would want
Supposed to do hovercraft over it? I mean,
to use the bridge
Oh.
is what they want people to do. Yeah.
no people.
Are we
do.
gonna, I was just gonna say, so are we setting people up for an unsafe crossing because we didn't? I realize that they don't want it, but it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So make it at least as safe as possible. I guess that's
the limit with cars gonna go across the bridge. Nobody's gonna put crossing guards for pedestrians or
That's
bikes.
true.
Right.
That's their
And
line of the
so,
road.
so now you're setting them up for
Right.
a big ugly.
If I agree that nobody's gonna put crossing arms, I mean, you could easily put arms that wouldn't be terribly expensive, say ones they kind of already have. Just block the
Yeah.
head ones at the very bottom, but that's just my suggestion. There's
No.
already a path on that east side of the tracks, and people are gonna want to not loop all the way around, somehow get over.
Well, that would,
A common thing that we hear is that they just don't have enough land to work with particular things. And has that been vetted that they don't?
on the north side of the bridge, I think that's true.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a problem on the south side of the bridge, which is where the path that I was talking about would go.
Thinking about like the Greenwood, where it's at, still people are, a lot of folks are just not driving down, driving into that tip. They're using that just because they don't want to go down and have to ride back up. So I can
Right.
totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think sharing in comment, like Chris had mentioned, of just recognizing that the bridge, although provides a like non-train path, that the at-grade crossing will still be the preferred method when they're, because the train doesn't back up people like it does cars, and
Right.
that it'll still be the preferred bicycle pedestrian route. And so having, enough space and or safety crossings to leave that as a viable path, I think you can ask for it.
Yeah.
And I think, like it's kind of been mentioned, it's to assume that it's not possible because it's an additional thing, or that by acknowledging that people will go there, then the design is responsible for the people that are crossing there, is a hypocrisy that it's okay to point out.
And that's also It's also okay to say, hey, the design is great. I'm glad that we're making some progress here, but can we make sure that room is left in the future?
Yeah.
If we start to acknowledge this problem, that we have a way to solve something we're kind of already pointing out,
Mhm.
but do it in a really nice way.
Please and thank you.
Is this something that we're trying to get a language to vote on, or can we give narrative approval to send the letter? Just a process question for the group.
I don't know the answer to that.
What's the timeline that you're wanting to send the letter?
Well, they closed the open house a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to do it. We can't wait till January.
Yeah, we want to send it before the next meeting.
So as far as narrative, it seems like.
Narrative,
I was gonna ask.
Same process.
Sorry, say that again.
Do we agree that that's something that we want to include in this or not?
I think we should, to acknowledge that it's there, that it's, to think that the people aren't going to use it is, that is not true. We know that.
We're simple creatures.
Yeah.
People are like water. They go the
Resistance.
easiest
Yeah,
way.
right.
And whether there's a fence there, they'll cut a hole in it.
That's the beauty of walking and biking is that
Right.
it can be this
Do it.
line between points and
Well, and
take advantage of that.
like Chris said, most of the time, that's going to be what's available, right?
Most of it, yeah.
The majority of the time, we're talking about 4 to 6 times a day that it might not be.
Okay, so my notes say that the at-grade crossing will be for many people will be the preferred bike and pedestrian route. And so we need to either provide a safe crossing there for when trains aren't there, or we need to save space so that if it becomes a problem, they can provide a safe crossing.
Perfect.
Okay, and then I'll add on the section about the two-way that they provide bidirectional travel signage and wayfinding so that that's clear. Is that right with everybody? Okay.
Derek, do you have anything to say?
That was my lunch, man.
Just shake his head. Shake his head.
Eric's
You're on mute.
No, I'm good. This isn't like my project, but I'm taking notes, so in case anyone asks.
Do you have any advice?
For sending letters,
Yeah.
I would probably get in as soon as you can. I mean, I think there are certain things that are already kind of locked in, so I would focus on like what's feasible to actually change at this point. But I'm not like super familiar with this project. I went to the Larkspur presentation and know a little bit about it, but I mean, I feel like you guys are on the right track with poking at it and finding better alternatives. But I just don't know like what at this point can be changed or not changed. So doesn't hurt to send it in.
Okay, cool.
All right. Very good. Thanks for the help. And so I'll get it printed and to Diane and we'll get it sent.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Tanya, do we need to have it on letterhead? Is there any county process we have to go through to send a letter like this?
Done that in quite some time, so I don't. Probably make some if we need it, or any of us could. What have we done? Does anyone know what we've done in the past? It's been a while.
Yeah, David Thompson has taken.
Like I've
care of
never
that.
supplied that,
Okay.
but I
okay.
can. I wonder if there's something in the.
Can we use the letterhead that we used for the
Yeah,
agenda?
that's exactly
Oh,
what you.
yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's perfect. If you need any formatting, please.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, might need that.
Yeah, we just use this.
Yeah, that's what we would do if we had a letterhead.
Okay. And then who are we sending it to?
Well, we would send it to Alex Doza, who is the project manager, and then I had did I have a CC on there?
It's on there. It's always good to CC.
Did didn't have a CC. I think we probably should CC it to Ryan Oster, who is Alex's boss, and he's the lead engineer for the city.
Good idea.
Yeah, this is Derek. I would agree. Those are the correct people.
Is there any requirement for us to let anyone at the county know we've done this?
I was thinking about that. I think for this kind of thing, we're good. It's just kind of nuances that they're not gonna, it's not like a policy thing.
Right.
So I'm gonna say. Okay, time to.
We asked Tanya and she said yes. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, thank you for thinking of that, because sometimes when it's larger stuff, we do have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
So then maybe this is a bond project. Kim might remember better than I do, but you could also include T-Block on there.
It's definitely part of the Go Bond list.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
That's a
And-
funding mechanism in terms of T-Bot's influence on the project.
Okay,
Good call.
so 3 CCs, Ryan Oster, Garrett Sporen, who is the engineer for all the Go Bond, he's the lead engineer of Go Bond projects, and T-Bach. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and just an FYI, Garrett's on paternity leave right now, so I think he's out for another month or so. So it doesn't hurt to copy him. He's probably checking his emails. Just you probably won't get a response from him.
He was at the last T-Bach meeting in person, so Garrett.
Yeah, I think
Or
this
was
was
it?
just like started last week.
It was not, Brian is there covering for him.
I believe you.
I'm crossing you there. You were on mine.
and if you wanted to. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Sure, yeah. I didn't want, it's gonna make it stickier, so. I don't want to make it stickier. Just get it done.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much. All right, Hero Award. Any news, progress? What's our plan with it?
Anything else was covered on it?
You were off scuba diving or something fun.
Well, that was part of it, but went to Guatemala for most of it, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then Roatan for the last little bit.
That's right. Welcome back to the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
So where are we at?
There was no discussion.
There was,
Yeah.
last.
So
To be-
how about we kind of landed on everything and we just need to go ahead and just start making selections.
That's what I thought we decided in October.
Yeah, so I think didn't we have the categories identified? And then I think we were looking at, the gentleman out of LaPine, I should remember his name right now, Anthony.
Anthony,
Anthony was gonna kind of finish up the
logo.
design,
Yeah.
and then it was either this meeting or next, might as well make it next, as to have some recommendations for BPAC for project person, or whatever those 4 groups were. And maybe if we could figure out what those 4 groups were again.
I was trying to look through my notes for that.
So we had it in that meeting in LaPine, we kind of covered it.
Yeah, we had 3 categories. Best plan, best project completed, and then project champion or dreamer.
Yep. Those sound like something that people would still want to put in those categories. And we said if we have something that pops up that's fantastic, later on, we might make up a category if there's something that shows up that doesn't fall into that grouping.
What were the groupings again?
Best plan. This was trying to uplift planning processes that sometimes don't go anywhere, but can be really well laid out. We can highlight them. Project completed, so not just recognizing individuals, but agency folks, teams, and contractors. And then project champion or dreamer. That's what I have in my notes.
Again, I'm not a BPAC member, but I will throw out one other idea of heroes that I've heard about in other award processes that I've been in the past is if there's an elected official in the in Deschutes County. Sorry, I keep thinking Tri-County. Anyway, if there's an elected official that has just really just, gone to the mat for bike and pedestrian, that's just another idea for consideration, that it's always nice to give our elected officials who are our champions a toot in the hat.
So we're definitely going more for projects and that sort of thing, other than just people who we feel contribute in an important way. Because at first I had thought perhaps of having like the Chris Horner Foundation, because they're out there teaching kids how to ride bikes safely.
Mhm.
And I've seen them do it. And I've seen Chris Horner out there. Signal right turn now. He's got this whole group of kids behind him.
Mhm.
And I just thought something like that would be maybe a nice way to validate what they are doing. But that's not really a project.
Well, it's education and encouragement, and
Okay.
that's a very legitimate piece of this puzzle.
Champion, or I mean, would that
Yeah.
be the cat? Would it fall under that?
I think, yeah, the project champion, I mean, this was just kind of brainstorming notes, but I think that you could very easily either say it's eligible for a whole bunch of things, or more realistically just give out multiple awards. So there could be like
Yeah.
a team, an individual, team/organization, an individual.
And we're not
Or
limited.
Great category or
program.
program.
We're
Yeah.
not really limited to the number of them
Yeah.
that we're gonna
I
get out.
think we can give out.
Many people as we think are doing good
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Main thing is to recognize what's been done, but also to encourage projects moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we're looking at more of the champion, the project, and then also the plan, so we can put some energy behind those.
Mhm.
Yep.
So some things that maybe are in progress or about to be in progress.
Yep. I mean, we're looking at the overpass that's a project that's in way, or we could talk about the project from Sun River to Lava Lands would be a project that has some interest in, recognize what's been put forward behind that, those other things.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and it kind of helps the public understand maybe that $30 million is a good amount of money to spend on a pedestrian project.
Yeah.
And that it's not a waste of money, because it's really important to the community, and not saying it in that way, but
saying.
giving it high fives.
Yeah.
In the world.
Building bridges literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
So is the idea that we would come back next meeting with ideas for who to nominate for this? I just want to make sure this keeps going.
Right.
I'll see. Is there any reason we wouldn't be at a place to do that?
Are we planning to, it's this group that's nominating, or are we looking for outside input as well?
Good question. I think we were talking more about this particular group because we kind of knew what was going on, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be other folks too. But maybe with the first year,
Yeah.
we're getting it lifted back off the ground and we have a little bit more time frame control and all those kind of good things to start with this, and then maybe open it up to a broader, cast that net a little bit bigger next time.
Sense.
What does the hero get? Trophy?
Maybe a plaque, we don't know
Ah,
yet.
okay.
Kudos.
I like the idea of a giant
High
trophy
five.
like they do for BMX. They just
Right?
file
Yeah. The old trophy.
thrift store.
Yeah. Right around it. Is there money for that?
We have no money for anything.
Does anyone have a friend in the trophy business?
I have a friend in the dinosaur.
Some of your kids?
It's like somebody thrifts occasionally and might find some.
Yeah.
I have gold spray paint.
Yeah.
I think we had talked about not wanting that to hold back the process, and that we might be able to find somebody that can support a very small financial ask for that piece.
And it doesn't need to be be major. It's more of the acknowledgement and then putting out some press to it.
Yeah.
And getting this in front of the county commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really one of the things that stopped it from last time. If I remember, the person who put together the award kind of went away and then I was
It's a
like,
physical award.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, now what are we gonna do that we don't have somebody who's putting all the work behind it?
Mm.
So, yep.
And we have Anthony worked on a logo that we can further develop too.
I'd say if put a plaque with the award thing on it.
Yeah.
And hand it to them. I mean, I don't think I need to get too elaborate on
Yeah.
that.
Or even just a frame certificate. I mean, that.
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Somebody
the
that-
plaque would probably go to the next year's recipient, ideally, or is it something they would
Maybe
hold
some-
forever?
I think you would actually.
Like the old ones, I've seen some of the old versions of this in people's offices.
Yeah, I think if
Give it
it's
to
like,
you.
if you're proud of something and you're like, hey, I've really worked on this project or our organization put this forward. And if they're one of those people that hang plaques, they're gonna put that on their wall and.
Yeah.
And also that helps us in the future because they're gonna look at it as something that they've achieved that's been what our goals are in line with, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen the plaques also from like the Asphalt for America Contractors Conference in the city office that, that team works, like people hang plaques.
Yes.
I think there's a reason why people give out awards. Yeah.
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 Makes for a nice background on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
And your flag back there. Your certificates. Someday.
Okay, so should we send that out to the group, that list, to ask members for
Yes.
nominations?
Yes,
Okay.
that'd be great.
And ask people to come to the next one with suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now we can,
Well, I've got my one already, so you guys.
perfect.
I was gonna do the Warner Award. which one are you?
will we be voting on them at the next meeting as well? Just to kind of,
I think we should.
so, yeah, it would be good, I guess, then if we had. I guess the responsibility should be if we're gonna come up with somebody, then maybe. Like write a few sentences on why and beforehand, so we can at least vet them to make sure there's not some CD passed or something that we don't know about.
I could make a Google sheet, little fill-in sheet that will make a spreadsheet of nominations.
Yeah, because you have access to the BPAC one, right? Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And then everybody, I'll link to that, and then everybody could just put something in there and just a few sentences on, like, wait, exactly what you said.
I've said it, so Kim knows.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be like
You're done.
name of nomination,
why.
achievement and date and who's nominated. I mean, it's super, super simple, but
Yeah.
rather than just random emails from everybody.
Yeah. That would be great. Yeah, and if we can like vote on it next meeting and just keep the ball rolling, that'd be great. We just have to get Anthony to remove some feet from the logo. It's been a hard fight.
Your email address, is it kim@kimcurleyconsulting.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome. Reach. So in the drive, it says big chain ring and safe sidewalks. Can I change that to hero?
Yes.
Because big chain ring is no more.
Excited.
Okay. Got it. I will put it in there.
Great. All right. Next on the agenda, Dave.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did learn something, just started the meeting from our ODOT rep. That we can't really do what we do until the legislature changes something. So what I have is, so everybody's aware, Wendy will attest that since I became a member of BPAC, I've been ornery when it comes to roundabouts. And I have black and white ones and colored ones. I'll hand out the colored ones first. This is one of the roundabouts that Bend has had on 14th. And if anybody has driven on that or ridden bikes, will realize that bikes do not have any priority at all. I'll wait till we get passed around.
14th and what?
14th and Galveston.
Hey, it doesn't matter, 14th in Newport, 14th in Portland, it doesn't matter. They're both-
Oh,
both the same.
okay. Yeah.
So when you're a bike rider, I mean, on any one of those side streets, you have your own bike lane until you get close to the roundabout, and then you have a little ramp. And that ramp directs you to become a pedestrian. And if you're going to turn right, then you have a nice little ramp that takes you back off the pedestrian walkway and puts you back down on the street that you're gonna go on. Now, if you wanna go halfway around or 3/4 of the way around, you then have two choices. You either stay on that pedestrian, take the crosswalk by walking across or being very daring because a car coming around the corner, or as many of us that ride bikes a lot, we say the hell with it, we just take the lane. I was always hoping that the city would change. And when they did the Wilson and 9th Street, I thought they would fix it because the city, the state, county is always saying, gee, we want everybody walking or bike riding or transit. Well, the next one is the intersection of the new roundabout. Oh, while that's being handed out, I'll tell you one thing. On the old way that they did on 14th, the city just built a new roundabout on 27th, adjacent to the new library. They went back and used the old design of a roundabout, making and they had plenty of space to make this thing nice and wide and do it right. And they went back to making bike riders pedestrians. Now, okay, on 9th and Wilson, they did do a separate lane for bicycles, but they put them at the mercy of becoming a pedestrian again, because if you look at the bike lane that does go around, it's a reverse concentric circle, in that when they get to their designated crossing, their back is against the traffic completely. So the only safe way for them to do this is they got to come to a stop. And it's not beneficial for bike riders or pedestrians, either one. Pedestrians got a little bit better because they're walking and they're just going to turn 90 degrees. But a bike rider is still forcing to be a pedestrian, no matter how you look at it, from a safety point of view. Now, I've not traveled in Europe a bunch, but I have many times, and I got totally enamored with our friends in the Netherlands, who, when a couple of their planners came over shortly after that 9th and Wilson roundabout was built, city officials that were there asked them what they thought about it. And they all said they would never ride their bikes on the bicycle portion. It was too dangerous. So this is my goal. This is a typical roundabout that they build in the Netherlands, and they're starting to build in many other countries in Europe. And the bike lanes and the pedestrian walkways are concentric circles around driving portions. They're in a circle. It's a bicycle path in a circle. They come around the corner, they don't have to stop, except for if there's a car coming in the normal driven roundabout. So that's preferred way that I wish, and I've been pushing for many, many years. Because it's evens out the flow, it makes it safe for pedestrians, it makes it safe for bike riders especially. The one thing that we were talking before the meeting was that, even though I always thought that the state, county, and city was wanting to make pedestrians, bike, and transit a more preferred method of getting around. It's still not on the books that bike riders have priority. And guess until a legislature has changed, we're not gonna get some decent bike friendly ways around a roundabout. It's unfortunate because I always thought the state was really pushing and mandating to make it safer and better for the other modes of transportation.
What does the state do to stop us from doing that?
I'm sorry?
What does the state do to stop us from doing that?
Well, leave it in our own representative, yeah.
Right, because you're kind of asking municipal versus county versus state, like
Well,
jurisdictions and their
the counties and
abilities
cities
to.
follow what the state kind of says, I believe, is the issue.
Yeah, it's state law. If you don't mind, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Okay.
And while Chris is pulling that up, my understanding has always been that everyone yields to pedestrians.
Yes.
Pedestrians are considered the most vulnerable.
Yes.
So when you're saying that this one is better for pedestrians, but then you said cyclists should be the ones that would have the highest
What
priority.
I'm trying to say is that what we have now forces bike riders onto the walkway.
Yeah, I understand that, but you also just a minute ago kind of said that bikes should have the number one priority.
No,
And
I'm
pedestrians,
saying,
as far as I know.
Lumping
in a
them
lot
in.
of vehicle laws in the state,
Okay.
bikes are treated as cars, but in other areas, they're not.
Yeah.
And so by having their own lane
Right.
would not necessarily make them priority over pedestrians. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying it's safer for the bike riders.
So,
And pedestrians too, because you don't have a bike rider come screaming off the street and hitting
Yeah.
a pedestrian in the walkway.
so quick recap, I took photos of all of these, so Eva and Derek can see them, so I'm sharing my screen real quick on these photos. This was the first one on, maybe this was the second one.
That's the second one.
This is the first one.
Yeah, that's the
Older
first one.
designs of roundabouts that he mentioned at the beginning. This is the Dutch version that he mentioned, so just trying to make sure you guys are caught up there. Hopefully that makes some sense there.
The pink portion becomes
So,
a bike lane where the bicycle rider can see, his back is not to the cars in the roundabout. And, he can then, if there's no cars, he can safely cross. And he's not interfering with pedestrians. Pedestrians still have all of the same rights that they have now. It just separates everybody. And everybody can see where everybody else is at.
The other thing to point out about this is that the cars come into the roundabout straight. Whereas if you look at the 14th Street roundabout, the whole thing is twisted, so cars have a really,
Yeah.
Part of that, I believe, is because of trucks.
well,
And so it can be modified to curve them a little bit for the trucks. Europe doesn't have the big semis.
And Dave, do you have the footprint of this last one? I mean, is it
No.
way bigger?
Oh, it's,
I know, I don't have a footprint for it. Believe it or not, they are bigger.
Way bigger.
Because they're concentric circles.
Yep.
Right.
So a concentric circle will take more room.
My initial reaction is there's probably a right of way issue. I'm not, in fact, actually, I love this idea and this concept. Just speaking up that this is right of way is, or lack thereof, is probably one factor in why this design is not adopted. It's potentially because, yeah, a lot of times, a lot of great infrastructure opportunities are cost prohibitive or not going to happen at all. The private property owner won't sell, right of way or, like give an easement to a project like this. So it would take a lot of extra time and money, which I think is worth it, but it just, is that something that,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that
Jump in.
Yes.
Yes, that is a thing. The primary one is who has right of way and who has to yield to who, right? This particular design is set up where bicycles have the right of way. We don't have that mechanism basically anywhere in the US where bicycles have the right of way on cars yielding to them as they go through. So that is the primary issue. You can see, this is, sorry, I forgot to bring the actual book. This is from the Dutch Crow bicycle design guidance. This sort of model, this is exactly what is shown on that other photo. The key point to see here is in that title and cyclists given right of way. We don't have a mechanism to do that in the US, right? To say suddenly cars, because you're crossing a bike lane, you no longer have priority to yield to them. So, I mean, we could try it with signs, but that's probably not going to work well.
Well, and
So,
isn't it in cross painted, or I don't know if it's painted or not unpainted, but in crosswalks, if cyclist is approaching at a walking speed, then cyclists are still given priority.
correct, they would. So, yes.
okay, so we just painted green and we got it covered.
Somewhat, you get wonky with the legal definition of a bicycle as a vehicle and or a pedestrian, what is walking speed, all of that. So again, this is the other design for roundabouts in the Dutch Crow manual. This is the one functionally we've adopted as a state, as the US. You'll see this is exactly what these first two are going for, right? Because cyclists do not have the right of way. We don't have a good mechanism to give it to them. And so we shunt them over to the multi-use path, pedestrian pathway. So it's really about that right of way of whom has to yield to whom. Theoretically, a bicyclist in the crosswalk at bicycle speed could keep on riding through this because they have the right of way. Do they actually, who want
Right,
to
you
keep on
want it-
testing that?
Yes.
I'm not gonna test it with a semi coming around the
No.
corner.
Yeah.
All right.
So functionally, we lead on this one, cyclists not having the right of way, slow down the cyclists, make them slow down and make that decision rather than expecting the car to yield the bicycle. Because we don't have those same sort of laws like in the Netherlands, where if you hit a vulnerable road user, you're assumed to be at fault rather than,
Say I didn't see him.
yeah, legally, maybe you have the right of way on a bike. Functionally, in the real world, you probably don't, right? Even if legally you do.
I mean, that's true with all right of way. If I'm walking across a crosswalk, I have the right of way,
Right.
but you're still making the decision of your own
Yeah.
safety
Yeah.
in that. So I guess I've heard this concern in open houses and with engineers of really having the intention to try to make it as inconvenient of a hard left-hand turn as possible for a cyclist to cross at a crosswalk because they want them to slow down and consider. I think that that's an unsafe turning movement. I think being able to make eye contact with a driver that's approaching is a much safer spot at whatever speed you're traveling. And I don't think that you would end up having cyclists crossing at a crosswalk at 15 miles an hour if they're given enough turning space to actually be able to see oncoming traffic.
100% agree.
And so is there something that is holding that back? Like I see these as two different designs of trying to accomplish the same thing. I don't necessarily see how one presumes right of way and one doesn't, because both still are crossing in the same type of crossing. It's just how much you're able to see that crossing.
So what's holding us back? Yeah. Right of way. Like Michelle mentioned, you have to get bigger. That's why we've designed what
Right.
can be differently. That's why Locust is designed differently,
Mhm.
right? Where we've teed up those crossings a bit more for that.
Even like you can have like a little bit of a bulb out to make it so then there's a wider space to make that turn.
Yes,
that doesn't require pulling like completely inverting the circle.
Yes, you can flare it that
Yeah.
way. Yes, this is the design standard that's adopted.
Uh-huh.
I don't fully agree with it either. Professional level, that's why, I've had talks at PPAC actually about some of my suggestions on how we sort of change our designs. That's why they do look a bit different around here now, some of the ODOT ones. But just trying to explain why we haven't gone fully this way, right? That's the primary differentiator. Now, whether this is the best, it's not in my professional opinion, but.
Like, what bothers me too is that on highways, bike rider, whether he's outside a white line, if whether there's any shoulder or not. But there are laws in the book in the state of Oregon that says that, quote, if a bike rider is there, the car must yield a certain
Fall
exact
distance.
verbiage,
Yeah.
but there's a certain, so in that case,
You
the
have to
bike
do
has a
so much
right of
work.
Yes, you do. I mean, there's that difference between.
Have it and take it.
But I mean, that's on the books, because I remember that passed only just a
Yeah.
few years ago.
But that's a law and reality of.
Oh, no, I
somebody-
totally understand that.
Gosh, that's not-
But I guess we can have it one place, why can't we have it?
Yeah, because even if the bikes don't have the right of way for the concentric circles, the visibility and the potential for eye contact is so much better. So
The one on Ninth and Wilson has no visibility at all.
it's, yeah,
Bike rider is
right.
literally forced. He's this way, he's got to stop his bike, turn it this way so he can see.
Yeah.
And it's not safe at all.
100% agree.
The other part of this to me is that if you look at old roundabouts in Bend, there's a 15-mile-an-hour advisory speed.
Mhm.
And the engineers are talking about removing those signs because they were actually built for a design speed of 25 miles an hour. And one of the most important things we could do at our roundabouts is to slow car traffic
Yes.
so that everybody is safer in those roundabouts.
Traffic would move smoother.
Much higher speeds than what you go on. We control it for safety, so I wouldn't buy that argument whatsoever. But when I look at these designs, yeah, the Dutch one is wonderful.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to put it into any living environment that we have
Yeah.
currently with intersections that they're trying to change to roundabouts, if you look at the two examples we have here, we're not look at either one of them.
No.
But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be some improvements. Now, in people's opinion, on the one that has the green sections, do you feel that that's safer when you're riding through Bend than the one that doesn't?
One of the big problems with that is that they are channelized, and so they fill up with all sorts of junk,
Yeah.
and they're
Pretty true.
pretty dangerous. So I would rather have them at the same level as the sidewalk and then denoted somehow to separate bikes from pedestrians.
That's what they're doing for an only, when only opens.
On Ninth and Wilson, they actually put a curb
Yes.
between the
Mhm.
car lane and the bike lane. And I'm waiting for the city's snowplows to wipe those out or wipe the snowplows out. Because all it's gonna do is fill those bike lanes.
Yeah.
Now granted, not many bike riders are out in the snow, but there are some.
I can tell you, dealing with
It's-
plow operations, they're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
The-
Yeah.
The bike riders that I know myself, where we take the lane, just because we don't want to mess with that. But by not having the bike lanes user friendly, it's gonna be very difficult to get people that are not long-term bike riders and got the guts to take the lane. It's intimidating to them to try and get
Yeah.
new people.
Yes.
I would
families,
say
kids.
especially in traffic and business areas, I am one of those people. I will take a lane or take the lane on smaller ones that are right around where I am. But I don't try to ride my bike through some of these other ones.
You just jump on the sidewalk right there and
I've only been almost hit once on one of these roundabouts in 14. It did scare me, but I still will take the lane.
And,
Yeah.
and even
I don't
if
like
you
these
get up on the sidewalk and go around through those ramps, some of the ramps are protected by the shadow of a curb when you come back into the street. And some are just put you right out into traffic with no protection and no transition. And that design is terrifying.
There
Yeah,
have been
you can
some,
come off of them and.
there's
yeah,
been some bike riders in Bend.
Yeah.
When they take that ramp to get back in the lane,
They are in the lane.
they
Yeah.
have been hit,
Mhm.
knocked down, just
Yeah.
because the car coming around the corner kind of drifts over into the bike lane. And they can't be seen because the way they're set up.
So Chris, got a question for you. If you
I
look
don't know
at,
how we fix it, but we gotta fix it.
if you look at these two designs that are more of the, what we currently have going on, what recommendations would you make to make them?
Sorry, which two designs?
I'm picking out the Dutch one just because I don't ever,
Yeah, it's the Dutch one.
unless you're building a new one in a new community that has.
Nothing in it.
Nothing there.
We all agree it's the best one.
Yeah.
But now we've got reality that we have to work within, and I'm asking what would make either one of these two safer, because when we're looking at ones that are gonna be proposed in the future, and we're gonna have input, I'm curious what that input might be.
Yeah, with David, I'd rather see it all at grade. Have a much wider space, and that curb then would provide some protection for all the stuff that, as you mentioned, accumulates within there. Then to get rid of a lot of that channelization problem as well, of it being a narrow path to a sidewalk wedged in there with sharper turns, right? Now you've mitigated those corners by making them wider. So I think that's probably the best we can do within these confined environments, to shift the entire thing on the curb level, right around. So. But yeah, if you have more space, then start talking, say more of this design or more what Neil was talking about, where you can start now teeing up those. So that way, if you're on a bike, you can look at 90 degrees instead of trying to look 180 behind you, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of like what we tried to do at Locust, tee it up more there so you have the chance to look.
Also, like in the future, when we're looking at these and having, sort of having long conversations about them, can we have recommendations to say, hey, if you're gonna do that, here's the two elements that we suggest moving forward?
Yes, I mean, I could go find back the presentation. I've given it at BPAC probably like 3.
Yeah, I know.
years ago. There are a bunch of suggestions that I thought of, trying to get changed in our ODOT standards. But yes, those are options. I don't have them all on hand with me.
Right.
Isn't the Franklin improvements between Third and I think it's Eighth along those lines? I mean, they're bringing there's going to be a basically bike and pedestrian at the same grade above the roadway, right?
Yeah. Well, right now, parts of it are like that, and parts of it, the bikes are on a sort of a half curb. So there's still a grade change between the sidewalk and it goes back and forth between those two designs a couple times in that 3 or 4 blocks.
Yeah, I'm avoiding that area right now because of the construction, but I thought that was part of the concept of the plan, was to have a raised area for both the bikes and the pedestrians.
Both bikes and pedestrians are raised above the traffic lane.
Right, but then there's a variation between sidewalk and bike, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I think we need that because otherwise, as a pedestrian, you're still the most vulnerable user, and
Yeah.
cyclists come by and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and you always hear them if you're walking. You can't hear if a bike's always coming behind you or whatever. So I think having that separation makes it the safest for
Yeah,
all.
the thing that scares me there is that it goes back and forth between one path for both and a separated.
Mhm.
And I think they had right-of-way constraints.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
But then how does that transition into the roundabout at 8? Is it?
It's hard to tell right now because it's
Yeah, 'cause I
still have construction signs up and stuff, so.
Yeah,
it's
I was
hard to-
curious about that.
Yeah,
I think that's online though, on the city website for that project. I think there's a schematics. So it could be looked at online.
That's a,
I don't think they've actually changed that connection.
I don't think they have
Yeah,
either. I don't think that was part of the plan.
so it still looks a lot like the 14th Street.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, that's a busy one too.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
I'm still hoping and wishing, praying and whatever else I can.
I'll say thank you. I mean, this is a
Yeah,
heated
it's good.
discussion. We do
Yeah.
need to keep on pushing these. There is like what, I 100% agree with you that we can do better. So it's just how do we create those frameworks? I know I'm the least excited about how long things take, but how do we chip away at these elements? So we move away from just this, say, straight design to what we can do better to get where we want to be within the frames that we can work in, right? There's certain ones that we'll probably won't ever get to in terms of right of way parts, because then you have to open up laws. It gets very scary. You can also lose those exact same rights.
And land is expensive.
Yeah, so.
That is one thing, if you go back and read the history of what the Dutch have done, they saw this after World War II when they were rebuilding their cities. They knew that the old medieval streets were not gonna work for future. Now, granted, it's taken them 70 years, but they had it down pat about 20 years ago, so maybe it's gonna take us that long to do it, I don't know, but no matter where you go in the Netherlands, it is the most bike-friendly country you've ever seen in your life. They have parking lots, multi-story parking lots for bikes at train stations, and they have hundreds and hundreds of bikes in there. So they figured out a way to do it. We just got to figure out how to do it ourselves.
And I'm thinking if we had like a couple of key, like 3 or 4 things that you're mentioning that would be beneficial in the future. Even like, I'm thinking the project that's happening right now in Sun River where they're building that dog bone or they have proposed by the village there. We could take those key elements and go, hey, here's the open house. Here's what kind of BPAC thinks would be a good suggestion in these elements. And then be able to share it each time that a project comes forward.
And there's that old saying about when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Well, when's the next best time? Today, right? And where we can, we need to get the right of way to be able to make these changes in the future. But in the meantime, how do we get there? And when I give the Ben Lapine Schools update, I have an update about roundabout education that I'm really excited about that I'd like to share. Because that's going to be part of how we bridge that gap between infrastructure.
One other comment, I know just in listening to this, several of us will take the lane, right? I take the lane. It doesn't matter which roundabout, I will take the lane, and my husband and I both do it. How do we make that safer?
Slow traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I realize, they're off the phone but that's to me, as a bicyclist, I feel safer doing that, even though that's not real safe, than crossing any of these streets the way they're set up, because you can't see I feel for people when they nearly miss someone, because as you come into a roundabout, you're looking the opposite direction that you need to see a pedestrian.
Yeah.
So to say that this could ever be truly safe, at least if you're looking this way, a bicycle is coming this way.
And I think if we add the accessibility community in this and visual impairments, that's really true.
Yeah. I look at these and go, it's hard because they're so small that by the time you get out into it and you get to the exit, you're hitting a pedestrian or potentially hitting somebody or slamming on the brakes or somebody right in the bumper. I guess just even the way they, is there, I know ODOT and nobody wants to put signage in, but share the road signs or something that bicycles in the lane, that there's an option. I realize legally I have an option. I have the right of way to be in the lane. I don't have to be the bike lane.
Well, I know that, and I think I mentioned it before in another meeting, Washington County over by Forest Grove, where my daughter and her family lives. In the roundabouts, they put the painting of the bikes in the roadway of the roundabout to warn, even though there is a pedestrian path, but they're putting it actually.
Oh, yeah. Stencil it on.
Right in the roadway. And that's, I don't know, evidently it's a county, because that's the only place I've ever seen that.
That's a possibility. Number one, what David said, slow people down, but there are design features we do choose. We don't have in our standards and we don't choose to do, but rather than say having the bike lane and force bikes to merge in, we could make the car lane deflect into the space where the bike was. So it's more like the car is merging into that shared one lane, right? So it seems less like the bike is just starting in there, more like I in a car am physically moving over, therefore I need to pay attention, right?
Yeah.
These are features we can do. There's nothing stopping us, right? It's just they're not in our design standard. It's not in this Dutch one either. But how do we think through designs that dictate that better than say our bike lanes? This was one of the things I brought up in the old DPAC one, but the bike lane kind of terminates. It basically get on the roundabout or merge right here. You have no idea which one the bike's going to do as a car.
Yeah.
So why would I assume they're going to merge anyways? And you're coming over.
Right.
But if instead it went the other way, at that point, the car has to merge over. That sort of dictates that idea, right?
It
And
gives
makes
you
it,
space.
yes, that you have the right as the car, I'm moving into the space that was that way. I'm moving over rather than the other way around of this person starting in front of me, right? Because this was my dictated space. So there are ways we can do these things. They're just not within these standards, right?
Yeah, we need another presentation from you about how we can changing some standards.
And again, we're like a county committee, you know, and we do have, the county is, as Mark knows, I mean, is going to slowly build more roundabouts.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of behind in this process, but I mean, that's kind of who we have. We don't have authority over, but we have the year of.
We have more ability to impact what the county does for design, because they're not gonna be locked in as much to some suggestions. But I think.
So yes, I'm also glad to look back through my presentations and sort of send it back to Diane so she can share it if you want those.
Or we can have a for next meeting or whatever, we can have a further discussion of it.
What I'm thinking about is like, if we have a project that's coming up that has an open house associated with it, if we had just key elements that we could just share. Say, hey, look, here's some particular ways we feel it would be safer to design these roundabouts and build them. Please consider that in the process.
So I have some notes if anybody would like to work with me and put those points together so that we have them sort of officially from the committee. We could do that.
Yeah, happy to take what Chris has. Yeah.
Don't forget, we can also build tunnels like Sun River.
Because it's no gas line.
It's always, yeah.
That won't cost much.
Okay, I saw Derek.
We're worth
We
it.
can let Derek do it.
Derek's got it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. I just have a few quick updates. We had talked the last time about the city potentially working on like 3D modeling of intersections and roundabouts, and this is a good accessibility tool for people who are blind and visually impaired. And so we actually did just sign a contract. Kittleson's going to be doing that work, and we're going to be launching kind of the outreach phase of that in this spring, and that's going to be we have a couple of our community members, Charlene Wills, Nancy Stevens, is going to be participating in that. If you all know of anyone who is vision impaired or blind that wants to participate, we'd love to have some more people as part of that. And really the goal is to, do like tactile 3D models, and we're going to be picking like 5 kind of more difficult intersections, ones that aren't straight through, some more challenging roundabouts, to give folks who are blind like the ability to kind of, be able to feel around to see like where the movements are, where the turning, where the pedestrian paths are. So I can come back to this group maybe in the next meeting and get some of your ideas for like ideal intersections that you might want us to consider printing out. And then the ultimate goal is to have this be an update to the city's design standards and special provisions. So we would then require contractors to print their roundabouts and their complex intersections, to 3D print them and make those available at libraries and things like that, or City Hall, for people to use as a resource. It's a good accessibility tool. So if you guys want to maybe think about some like intersections that are really challenging, especially for people who are blind or vision impaired, or like the difficult roundabouts that we were just talking about today, and come up with a list of those, and we can bring those to the consultant for consideration. So it's a little homework there. The other update, many of you probably know, but Toby Marks, he was the parking services manager. He's no longer with the city of Bend, so he was doing a lot with the bike share system, the mobility points, the Troy Field Mobility Hub. So I'm going to be taking on a lot of that work. We will be rehiring that position, but we're trying to assess right now if like bike share should live in transportation and mobility or if it's in parking. So if you guys have any questions or comments or anything on the city's bike share, and then we're going to be working on developing the Troy Field Mobility Hub and working with CET in that process. And that should be kind of a spring summer. That's the area that's kind of right across from McMinimans, right behind Environmental Center. Neil's familiar with that. So Neil, just a heads up, I'll be working with you as we start to like stripe that and put this. We're looking at like solar powered street lamps, and then putting a transit shelter in there and hopefully some wayfinding. But I think that'll be a cool project to work on. And then lastly, you probably all know the MPO awarded the funds for the state highway program, or state highway fund, and the city got some funds to do some sidewalk infill projects. Northeast Boyd Acres Road, so that's a sidewalk that's going to connect between just south of Cooley, and that's going to provide access to then connect to that west to the highway to get to kind of Cascade Village Mall and that area. The city's going to be building that south portion of the sidewalk. I think that's a former state highway fund grant, so we'll have a better connected area kind of in this Juniper Ridge where our new campus is. Southeast American Lane sidewalk, that's just like one section that's been missing, and we just needed some funding to get that done to complete that whole network. And then Butler Market on the north side between Purcell and Weeping Willow, so that's right where that big stone wall is for the Stonebrook neighborhood. Keeping the juniper trees and putting a sidewalk path there. So some good sidewalk infill projects. Thanks, Ben Bikes, for writing the letter of support for sidewalk infill projects. And then 60,000 for a travel options education program. And that's our team going out where there's big infrastructure improvements, redesigns of roads, new roundabouts with a lot of bike ped features in there. We're going to be doing pop-up events, surveying people, asking them about their barriers, biking, walking, trying to get a little more data to just get information out there that, hey, this facility is now here. Let's start biking and walking and rolling. So well, there's just a few updates from my end. And sorry, I have to leave. I have another meeting here coming up. You guys have any questions?
Thank you, Derek. Thanks for letting us know about the time constraint.
Yeah, thank you.
I know we're kind of running a little bit short on time, but I just have an interesting comment for pedestrians thinking about going through roundabouts and stuff. And if I'm approaching a roundabout and I'm a pedestrian, I'm in the crosswalk, right? And cars stop. And my first response is, and everyone, you wave and you say thank you as you're crossing, but do I wave every time a car stops at a stop sign, which they're legally supposed to do? But it's just sort of that thing where you wave or you peace sign or whatever. The other day, I was gonna make a right-hand turn at a light. And there was a woman on this side who was crossing this way. And so I couldn't make my turn because she was walking. And then she had a green walking person in the whole thing. And she stops and is trying to wave me through. And I'm like, no, you go. You've got the right of way.
Yeah.
So, and I know we get a lot into bike stuff and I'm doing a lot more ped stuff lately, but let's not forget us pedestrians also.
So if I could back up a little bit to the roundabout conversation, and maybe when we're talking about coming up with our suggestions, maybe we could invite Kettleston or Parametrics to a particular meeting, because they're the ones that everybody's going to for design. And that would actually, because a lot of times we're hearing, we already have it designed, we already have this ready to go. And if we started talking to the designers before it got to that point, that might actually have more ability because those are the two that seem to be getting the majority of the work in Central Oregon right now. And we could have them come in, they could explain why they designed them that way in a particular way, and then we could say, hey, here's some suggestions on what we think. And that actually might get more traction moving forward than waiting till they have a design ready to go. And then we're saying, hey, can you please add these or changes at the last minute?
It seems like maybe we need a whole meeting and not do all the other items and just have like Kittleson and have some people come and make sure Chris is there and really get into this a little bit deeper.
I think it'd be. Well, you know what? We spend almost every meeting at least 10 minutes talking about roundabouts.
Yeah.
So if we could just maybe focus on it and then kind of be.
That's not on our list, but dang it, we have one spot left, don't we?
Yeah, she said, but maybe it's a summit conversation.
Right, I was gonna say,
Yeah, just a summit.
Roundabout mornings.
On to another day of the summit, right? An optional.
Right.
Roundabout,
Yes.
design
Yes.
conversation.
roundabout round table.
Are they perfect circles?
How would you?
That would be, this is kind of an
Right away.
I would negotiate an oval roundabout.
That's a great idea, just do the summit.
Yeah,
I like it.
bats are everywhere.
They are.
Well, I mean, it's difficult to have a discussion and decide things at a
Yeah.
place like the summit, so I
Right.
Oh, that's
gotta
true.
be
Yeah,
careful.
you're not gonna decide it.
Yeah.
Day or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we have one more thing on our agenda.
So that's,
That is you can.
do you want me to talk, Dave?
Please.
Okay. So we've been talking about at the last few meetings, having more focused agenda topics. And so David Green and I have put together this list. This is a draft. I'll move it to the right BPAC folder. It's not in the right folder now. And would love your input on it. You don't have to give it right now, but if you personally know people who are better contacts than who are on here, because some of this came from Google. Some of it is personal contacts of, us, we people. So, and then I guess we'd like to get permission to start slating some of these topics in. I don't know. I mean, we seem to fill up our hour and a half with sort of just the regular stuff that we're doing. So I'm not sure time-wise, like how much you would like to hear about the Redmond area things during our Redmond month, or is it the 12:45 to 1:15 slot that we give, and whoever of these people answer 2 or 3 of them, whatever. So just the way you might encourage us to move forward, in a organized way.
I mean, so we've done in the past, we do like, especially with like Redmond and Sisters,
On the pine.
the Pine, and
Yeah.
should do Sun River again. We give them kind of, that's their 45 minutes or half hour, whatever it is for their update when we're there. So I think we could schedule those in.
And we could use same model for the rest,
Yeah, that's what I think too, is
30 to 45 minutes.
right. So like I think Mark just said, we talk about roundabouts every time. So
Right.
if we dedicate some time to it and move forward with sharing those elements and, finding those elements that we really want to focus on, get those into we know what we're not having to decide it every time.
Right.
I think that's great, because I don't think then we'd have all these other, still have some things, but not
As much.
as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe we become more prepped to discuss that
Yes.
topic that day.
Yes.
Because we've got to focus.
Yeah.
More than we do now. So, and if you think any of these things are terrible ideas and you don't want to hear about them at all, please let us know that too.
Well,
Yeah. Appreciate your feedback.
But I think like Jefferson County and Madras and Kirk County and Prineville could probably go together in one meeting, right? Not just separate.
I don't think
think-
so. I think what we wanted to do was give a little bit more airtime. And if we find out that only one person from Madras wants to talk to us and nobody from Prineville or Crook County or Jefferson County want to talk to us, then maybe we lump them in with someone else. But I think what Dave and I are asking is, do you think this is a pretty good list? Is there anything missing? And should we get going for 2026? Because if we do want to get this, at least for the February meeting, I need to send some emails now.
Yeah.
Right, because time is running out.
And so, just like road department director on Deschutes County. And you have a Blaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a typo.
Just want to make sure we're getting it to the right people, the right titles. But even though I think Blaine's the right person.
Blaine is the right person, that's not the right job.
Yep.
Yep.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe it's a crystal ball moment.
I don't know if we want to think about doing these every other month, because it does seem like we do have, agendas that do get filled up with like summit planning and, or things like that. Just throwing that out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much other
Mhm.
business
Yeah.
and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
we're already gonna do it today, and we
Yeah.
have like every single meeting
Yeah.
recently, so.
The summit planning could be a standing working group update.
Sure.
And usually, I mean, I guess we can tick off Sisters Redmond and South County, because we usually try to do the road shows for those meetings. So those are kind of built in anyway.
Well, I think
Yeah, that's,
you can say tick off, but I think what we were told that we wanted was an annual calendar with the topics already set. And then the invitations out very early to all of those people. So we're not sort of like trying to scramble and get content.
so does anybody have a sense of which months would be important for these, or should Kim and I and somebody else, if they want to,
Make it up.
figure out which months we would talk to you, or about which months would be best for sisters? For instance.
It's maybe not in the snow.
Right. Yeah.
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 And maybe it's asking these groups if there's months that are best,
Exactly.
yeah. And so speaking up for Benland Pine Schools, I'm the right contact, and my role is part-time, so I don't work during the month of July at all. So mine would need to be not non-July. How about that? Non-July.
Right? And we always do South County a little bit, not in the dead of winter. Right. Because of roads.
Right.
I'll mention for a lot of these ODOT ones, it would make sense to work around their grant schedules. The other year, every year. Might put a note somewhere, something like that, say about school would be every other year. Beginning part, the January to March, somewhere around there, versus IMP is gonna be on a different schedule.
Right. So more relevant to the timeframe.
Correct.
And ODA, I could have gone on, but I didn't.
A long list of
You have a lot of important people that we want to talk to.
not many employees left anymore.
All these people are still there, right? So far, so good.
They changed the.
You're on the top of the list, Chris.
It's true. Some of these may be, like you said, every other year.
Sure. Right. Oh, yeah, we could never have a meeting long enough to have all those other people, the same thing, but these are kind of the menu choices that we have.
I might ask to add Tarek Rawlings to the county, he's the transportation planner.
Oh, yeah.
Tarek. Yeah, Tarik, I can give you it.
You don't want to represent the whole.
I mean, that's not what I do.
Yeah, I really struck out on the county websites trying to find human being contact information. It's like you're trying to hide from everybody. Yeah.
I really like finding people from presentations that they've given. Like, there's nothing on the website, but you can find their name and title from a
PowerPoint.
PDF of a PowerPoint.
Yeah, totally.
So that's a great one.
Or ask AI, make up an answer about half the time.
Well, we'll start trying to build a monthly calendar and keep everybody updated as we get things organized.
Okay, and if you do have friends and fans, in these places, please send me their name and I will tell them.
Thanks for holding that up. So I realized there's a second page to it.
Okay. I think we mentioned when Tarek talked to us in October. We'll do that and would see them in March. March or April. After the TSAP's done.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Is that a new engagement person for CP?
She's that. There's two new. Andrea is a new. Yeah. Jay.
I know, I'm thinking poor Ava sat there through the whole thing. We moved them behind our agenda, so we've moved them up from our working groups.
Oh, because we
But we
put all
don't-
that stuff in committee business. It used to be
Yeah.
their own items.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
I just feel bad. I know,
Which is now, right?
which is
We
now.
probably ought to hit the updates from.
Yes, that's where I'm-
and forego the rest of it till
Yeah.
next month.
Yep.
Ava? Feel free to fill us in on commute options.
I honestly don't have too many updates either. But let's see. We had the Get There Challenge wrapped up back in early October, but I don't think I've been to a meeting since then. So that was a big success. We had almost 4,000 trips logged in Central Oregon alone throughout the 2-week challenge. And our region accounted for 28% of all statewide participants. So we were right behind Portland Metro, which had 38% of participation. So thanks to everyone who logged trips for the challenge and made us look really good. Yeah, we're coming for the Portland Metro region next year. And then yeah, bike combined with e-bike was the most popular mode logged with 45% of trips, followed by carpooling with 16% and walking 12%. So that's the challenge. And then let's see, what else do I have? We recently got some funding from the City of Bend's Climate Action Partner Grant Program to work on School Pool, which is a carpool matching feature through Get There, specifically for schools. So we're excited to start launching that probably in the new year. But that's a fun new project we'll be working on. Thanks to the City of Bend for support with that. And yeah, lastly, we had Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day on November 14th, which is always a big success. So thanks to the school district and the community for all their support with that this year, as always. And yeah, that's kind of it from me this month. But thanks for letting me chime in.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off, but I know we talk about 1:30 and we always seem to fill our hour and a half with way more than that.
Could I forego my time so I can hear Chris talk a little bit about the project and moving forward with Sun River to Lava Lands, if there's any news on that?
Sure, do you want all the updates from ODOT or do you want to jump straight into that?
I'll just give my time. I'll yield my time.
To the gentleman from ODOT.
Start with that one, then to Lava yeah, construction's still planned for 26, so
Any-
starting 26.
Wow, that's almost here.
I know.
That's next month, right? Okay.
Year 2026.
Start of the construction, so that'll mostly be tree thinning and clearing to prepare for the path, that'll happen. And then construction for the actual path. Most of 27.
So-
Should-
So did they find the money?
I mean, we have money. Let's find out if it's enough, right? We're still finalizing all of that. We are pretty confident, but we'll see what happens. As we sort of finish this next round, we should know in a couple months.
So start in 26, completion in 27.
Yes, and that'll be tree clearing.
Cool.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, let's get the project stuff first. Ben Sisters Redmond, that planning has sort of kicked off internally. So that team will be reaching out to folks from Redmond, BPAC, Deschutes BPAC, Diane, I think you're on the list. Bob's not here, but he's on the list for Redmond, and then a bunch of other people. So super exciting for that project.
Yeah.
Site. Hawthorne Bridge, that has the open house going on that we're delivering for the city, so hopefully everybody can take a look and put in comments. We're gonna put in my personal / professional plug that 8% is too steep for a bridge, especially if you want it to be well used.
It's steep.
Yeah, and then I'm also kicking off a super cool project. I'm just mentioning now, low carbon construction materials and techniques. I'm only mentioning it because Neil, I want to talk to you after this meeting. So
Great.
just flagging that for
Yep.
you, or particular, what?
I thought you said low carb. Yes. Yeah. And then two other big notes, the referendum, I'm sure everybody's seen, so that looks like it's got enough signatures, so. ODOT might be back in the hole. We don't know. We're in wait and see. They still gotta validate them, see if the whole process was legal, but. If it is, much of the funding, not all of it, has been earmarked and we won't get that, so. Who knows what'll happen there, so I will definitely keep you up to date. I'm in the dark too.
I saw a picture of a snowplow, right, with that headline. So is that one of the things that we might not have much funding for then?
Correct. So there's ongoing conversations. We paused the non-maintenance hirings. And we've paused some of the maintenance as well, but we haven't stopped all of those. So there is some deal making also happening in terms of conversations with the governor. How do we pull money from other places?
Yeah.
Eat that. So again, don't know the answer yet, but some is paused, but for the most part, they're trying to keep that in.
Some of the allocations that were dictated by the legislature for funding, which kind of locks it in over here. Is there any way to eliminate some of that for projects that were?
Yeah, the legislature can do their thing. I think the short session starts soon, February-ish. So they
That-
can
that should-
revisit that.
If they could get rid of their pet projects over here and refund maintenance, then we maybe wouldn't be in as bad a shape as we're in.
This is me speculating. That's the, rumors I've heard. I don't know. I'm not in these conversations, but that's, I think, how we get to that point of we're still hiring some maintenance people now.
There's a little bit of a hope that if they, validate all the signatures, that
Yeah.
they're trying not to get it to a vote, that they're hoping that at the short session, they can get people back to the table and hammer out some details and bypass that need, have the one party happy enough to, pull that. It's kind of a Hail Mary, but it's still kind of on the table as an option and not have to drag this out for 6 or 12 months. Yeah.
Next long session.
Yeah, exactly. So there's kind of that on the table. So I mean, if it's, you talk to your legislators and stuff like that, make sure to point out that option, and because it's kind of the best option to get through this quickly as possible. That's all I know. I've been told by our cocoa lobbyist, so.
Last big news from ODOT, but our director is leaving, so as of January 2nd, so. More uncertainty for ODOT, who knows what'll happen, so wait and see.
Chris Chang for president.
Yeah, so we'll see who the governor appoints.
Yeah, we should all just.
So is that
we should all
governor appoints that position?
Yes, if I recall correctly, the last special session or even during the regular session, they changed some rules. It used to be OTC, now it's back to governor. Part of that accountability push.
She's probably getting recalled too or something.
That was part of that same referendum. A lot of those signatures are doing both. So,
Hey, Chris.
yo,
Matt here, and sorry I'm joining late today, but I didn't quite hear all of Mark's question. Was that timeline for the Lava Butte to Sun River path or the Bend to Lava Butte?
Bend to Lava Butte, for Bend Lava Butte construction. We don't have any funding for Lava Butte to La Pine, so we'll have to shift that together through whatever grants we define.
Okay. I know folks here at the High Desert Museum are really interested in that. So sounds like 26, 27. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
That's all I've got.
I don't think we have anybody else besides Michelle. I think I'll throw out a couple of items of update. Also, Bend MPO meeting last week, the policy board awarded both commute options and Bend Lapine schools funding for safe routes to school, education and programming. And
it's kind of exciting because the last time the Bend MPO funded the State Highway Fund projects, there was $210,000 allocated to commute options for Safe Routes to School. This time around, by both Bend LaPine schools and commute options, both submitting applications, resulted in about $260,000 combined for fiscal year 28 to 30. So that's about a 25% increase for Safe Routes to School programming. And, I don't want to speak for commute options project itself, but I'll say it's generally, about continuing their existing work with bike and pedestrian and volunteer work. And then ours was more focused on pedestrian education, but we're going to partner. Our intent is to hire commute options to perform our work. But what is super exciting is that Bend LaPine Schools proposed heavily, that's what about roundabout training, because that is one of the biggest complaints we hear from parents is roundabout training and education for their students, for their kids to walk or roll to school. So we put ours in as that was going to be a big priority for the funding that we get, is to supercharge the training and education about roundabouts. And I think, again, until we build a bigger, better roundabout, one of the ways we can address that gap is, help close that gap is in education and training for how to safely, to the best as we can, safely navigate those roundabouts. So that's, again, exciting that Bend MPO has supported Safe Routes to School projects. And again, that's only for schools in the Bend MPO area. So LaPine is outside of that area. So I'll continue to apply for grant money to support additional education and training in LaPine. So we're really grateful, again, to Bend MPO for awarding that money. Also, last month, as mentioned earlier, there were Ruby Bridges on the 14th. We had a special event in LaPine for Ruby Bridges that involved both Roslyn Elementary and LaPine Elementary. And the LaPine High School leadership class participated as well. They did a speech to City Council about Ruby Bridges, and they actually volunteered to help with the walk that the elementary schools, it was really special. So I hope that we'll have a notice out from Bend LaPine Schools communications team about the event. There's some really cute pictures involved in that. So also, I wanted to give another shout out. I think I did last month too, but I will say it again. A shout out to our esteemed David Green and Jim Elliott and Chris, your wife, Alyssa, wasn't able to make it to the one this morning, but these folks from Bend Bright Bikes have been supporting our Realms Middle School and High School bike to school morning. So it was very cold, but not as cold as earlier this week, right? But David was there along with Jim to help support the teachers and the students who are participating in that. And again, those things make all the difference in this village where we just, one person can make a difference. So again, thank you to everybody who volunteers with that. And then on we go with implementing our Safe Routes to School plan that we adopted in September. In September we adopted that plan, and it will soon be posted on our website. Bend LaPine Schools is reconfiguring its website, so at some point we're going to be able to actually post that. But if you ever want a copy of it, I'm happy to send it on to anybody who wants it.
And I have a quick update from Sisters that we opened up our Gateway Transit Hub, Mobility Hub Park, all the words, facility.
Bathrooms, labyrinth.
We're still kind of, yes, bathrooms, labyrinths, bus stop, park, EV charging. So yeah, we opened that up, had a ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if we saw that on the news or not, but I made it a point to ride my bike out there and park my bike right in the front. And I was like, it's a prop, because CO Daily was there. So I didn't get to see the article, but I heard that my bike was in the shot. So I wanted to represent that. So So yeah, so that is open and yeah, we'll see how this winter goes. It's never been open in the winter when the Forest Service ran it, so we'll see what the maintenance challenge is there, but yeah, we're excited. There's a lot of multifamily housing that's just been built right next to it and really trying to connect the dots and get people to start riding the bus more and then using that facility and as it gets built out. So that was kind of our big transit hurrah with a lot of help from ODOT and the Forest Service and Kittleson work on that as well and all our partners. So excited.
So you gave up your time.
No, I've done nothing.
Yeah. Is there anybody I'm missing?
Give up my time because I've spent another meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Putting over.
Yeah, Tanya and I and Matt had some email conversations about our email list and our communication. So that's kind of working on that. And I think we're getting really close to like a good solution, I think.
Yeah, we'll have some non-action items in the future.
Yeah, but making progress.
Have a copy of
I
it.
have one.
So just before we close, Dave and Kim, is there anything that you need from us as a takeaway of what to do?
Take a look at the list and if anything's glaringly missing or wrong, please change it. I mean, it's in Google Drive, so I'm not owning any of this. It's just a draft. So
And we talked about Kittleson and parametrics. We want to add them?
well, I was thinking we would
coincide-
add a roundabout round table
Okay, there you go.
month
There you go.
or
Yes.
option, right?
Yeah.
And they could be
Sometimes.
And
And then we probably, you guys can help me with this, is we need to talk about summit if we're doing a summit.
Yeah, I talked to Hal DeShow, who was a professor at COCC, and they're really interested in helping us with the summit. Because their climate action plan requires them to get more and more people on bikes and buses. And so if we can do something about that, then they would be really in for helping us.
Awesome.
And they have
They
locations
have-
all over Central Oregon,
Right.
not just in Bend.
I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Did he
So-
contact you or was this part of some
was-
outreach that you all did?
No, it was completely random
That's great.
connection.
You should totally take credit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Humility.
Madam Chair, may I also share one other piece of information? And again, I'm not here to represent Cascades East Transit, but Cascades East Transit also got awarded funding to support Deschutes River Woods Transit as part of that Bend MPO funding. So that's kind of exciting. I know that CET is planning to launch that work like in the next year, but they got MPO money to sustain it for another year and a half. Or at least another year, if not 2 years, after that too. So through the MPO. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah. They need the best for us. Okay, cool. All right, let's call it.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Safe.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your
Very good.
good news.
On the MPO money?
Yeah.